The more you talk, the less they listen. The more you explain, the less they feel. Words lose gravity when they flood the space, but when you speak rarely. When your words come with weight, with precision, with intention, everything changes. Every word becomes a blade. Every sentence becomes an anchor. The human mind doesn't crave noise. It craves meaning. It craves signals that are scarce, deliberate, and unforgettable. Scarcity doesn't just apply to objects. It applies to language, to energy, to presence. When your words become rare, they become rare events. And rare events are burned into emotional memory, far deeper than endless chatter ever could. This is scarcity messaging, the art of saying less but hitting harder. In this video, you'll learn how to compress emotional weight into fewer words, how to weaponize silence to amplify your voice, and how to make every sentence you speak. Reshape the emotional gravity of any room you enter, because true verbal power isn't in saying more, it's in saying less and letting the silence do the cutting. Part 1. Why words lose power when they become common. Words are like currency. The more you print, the less each one is worth. When you talk endlessly, you dilute your gravity. You become background noise, easily tuned out, easily forgotten. The human mind is wired for efficiency. It filters out what's repetitive. It ignores what's abundant. It dismisses what feels predictable. When words flood the space, the brain stops processing meaning. It stops feeling impact. The emotional system only spikes when something feels rare, deliberate, significant. Think about it. 100 compliments blend into silence, but one rare, unexpected acknowledgement can reshape someone's entire perception of themselves. 1,000 reassurances fade, but one perfectly timed pause, one sentence dropped with precision, can carve into memory permanently. Words lose power when they're thrown out carelessly. Words gain power when they're rationed, like rare oxygen. Speaking constantly is easy. Saying something unforgettable with 5 words instead of 50 is the mark of control. Scarcity amplifies impact. Silence frames weight, and precision makes every syllable cut deeper than endless conversation ever could. Part 2. The psychology behind scarcity messaging. The brain is wired to prioritize what's rare. It doesn't remember everything it hears. It remembers what it feels. And feeling is triggered, not by volume, but by scarcity. Information saturation effect. When input becomes constant, the mind stops differentiating signal from noise. It starts filtering. It starts discarding. Too many words, the brain tunes out. Too many reassurances, the emotional system goes numb. Scarcity shocks the system awake. When words are rare, the brain pays attention. It leans in. It sharpens its focus. Because it senses something valuable might be happening. Scarcity Value Principle. The rarer something is, the more the mind inflates its value. This isn't logical. It's instinctive. It's why a rare glance, a rare compliment, a rare word lands deeper than 1,000 casual affirmations. Scarcity hijacks the reward circuitry. It frames rare signals as more important, more urgent, more emotionally charged. Emotional sharpness theory. When words are rare, they sharpen. Each syllable cuts deeper. Each pause stretches longer. Each message vibrates harder inside memory. Because it's not just about what you say, it's about what you don't say. The silence surrounding your words amplifies their emotional resonance. Impact isn't just made by sound, it's made by what fills the space after the sound fades. Understand these forces, and you realize it's not the amount of language that builds power, it's the scarcity of it. You don't flood people with words, you starve them strategically, and in that starvation, you control emotional gravity. Part 3. 5 techniques to make your words hit harder. Powerful communication isn't about speaking more. It's about making every word feel heavier than silence. Here are 5 techniques to make your words strike deeper, sharper, and last longer. Technique 1. Speak less, but with perfect timing. Don't rush to fill the space. Let silence expand. Let the tension breathe. When you finally speak, make sure it lands. A word spoken at the right emotional peak cuts deeper than a paragraph dropped into noise. Timing carves memory. Timing shapes dominance. Technique 2. Pause before delivering impact. Before you deliver something heavy, pause. Hold the moment. Stretch the silence. Let their mind lean forward. Let anticipation tighten the air, then speak. A well-timed pause makes every word that follows feel inevitable. Inevitable words hit like gravity. Technique 3. Use minimal but powerful framing words. Don't waste words qualifying your thoughts. Don't dilute your sentences with extra noise. Speak in framing strikes. That's not strength. That's noise. Some silences weigh more than speeches. You move faster when you're not busy proving anything. Short, sharp, undeniable. Minimalism amplifies authority. Technique 4. Let silence be the echo. After speaking, don't rush to fill the gap. Let silence follow. Let the message hang in the air. People replay silence more than they replay noise. The echo of your words inside their own mind does more damage than anything you could keep explaining. Technique 5. Compress emotional weight into fewer words. Layer emotion, precision, and resonance into every word you allow to escape your lips. One line should replace a paragraph. One glance should replace a monologue. You aren't speaking for validation, you're speaking for transformation. And real transformation needs fewer words, not more. Master these 5 techniques and every sentence you speak becomes a force, a shift, a gravity event. You don't overpower people by talking louder. You overpower them by making every rare word feel unforgettable. Part 4. Common mistakes that kill scarcity messaging. Scarcity messaging is surgical, but one wrong move, and you lose the gravity you fought to build. Here are the critical mistakes that destroy the silent power of rare words. Mistake 1. Talking to fill silence. Silence feels uncomfortable. That's why most people drown it with noise. But every time you speak, just to fill the air, you dilute your presence. Silence is not your enemy. It's your amplifier. If you rush to kill silence, you rush to kill tension. Mistake 2. Over-explaining your points. Precision creates authority. Over-explanation creates doubt. The more you justify, the more you look uncertain. State it. Pause. Let it land. You're not asking for agreement. You're building gravity. Mistake 3. Repeating yourself unnecessarily. Repetition weakens power. It tells the mind, this isn't rare, it's disposable. Say it once. Say it sharply. Let the echo work harder than your words. Every unnecessary repetition bleeds gravity. Mistake 4. Trying to sound important. Real power is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. If you try to sound wise, sound deep, sound important, you lose authenticity. The rarest voices aren't polished for approval. They're sharpened by precision. Speak simply, speak clearly, speak rarely. Let the scarcity amplify the depth. Mistake 5. Losing control of emotional delivery. Even rare words lose power if your delivery leaks insecurity. Fast speech, shaky tone, restless energy, all of it weakens the strike. Scarcity messaging isn't just about fewer words, it's about stillness behind the words. Calm energy, cold precision, slow breath. When you control your emotional delivery, every word hits like silent thunder. Avoid these mistakes, and your words stop being communication. They start becoming weapons, signals, gravity points that people can't escape. You speak rarely, but when you do, everything shifts. Part 5. Real examples. How to speak less and hit deeper. Theory builds the frame. Application builds the gravity. Let's break down real-world moves, where fewer words created more dominance. Example 1. The strategic one-liner. In a negotiation, instead of over-explaining your position, you drop a single calibrated line. If it's not a clear win for both sides, there's no deal. Then you stay silent. Let the weight settle. Let them scramble to adjust. Impact. You shift the frame instantly, without raising your voice, without debating. Example 2. The cold pause. After a statement, someone challenges you aggressively. Instead of defending, you say, "That's your interpretation." Pause. Silence. No defense. No elaboration. Impact. You let them sit with their own energy. You refuse to validate the escalation. You make them doubt their attack, without ever raising your voice. Example 3. The deliberate emotional compression in a vulnerable moment. Instead of flooding them with comfort, you say, "You're carrying more than you show." Then you let it breathe. No advice, no fixes, just impact. Impact. You mirror their depth. Without trying to rescue them, you create emotional resonance that feels earned, not handed out. Example 4. The minimal frame in social dynamics. In a group setting, everyone talks, fills space, pushes energy outward. You stay quiet, measured, focused. When you finally speak, it's short, clean, and final. Most noise comes from uncertainty. Silence. Impact. You freeze the emotional room. You tilt the frame. You assert dominance. Not by overpowering, but by undersupplying. Master these examples, and you'll realize you don't control a room by shouting, you control it. By managing scarcity, by controlling tension, by weaponizing silence. You don't fill space, you bend it. Final CTA. You don't need more words. To build more power, you need fewer words, sharper words. Words that strike deeper than silence. When you speak rarely, you create tension. When you speak precisely, You create impact. You don't fight for attention. You become the attention. Every sentence you drop reshapes the gravity of the room, not because you spoke louder, but because you spoke less. And let scarcity do the work. Words are tools, but silence is the weapon. When you master scarcity messaging, you don't just communicate, you control. Smooth transition. In the next video, we take it even further. Because once you control your words, the next level is controlling your very presence. It's called magnetic detachment. Pull people in without effort. Because true influence isn't about chasing, it's about standing still and letting the world lean in.